What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a Raid Shadow Legends video, and I'm just going to weigh in quickly on something that the community is kind of up in arms right now, and that is the incoming nerf to the Void champion UROGRIM. Very interesting champion here. I think when he came out, it was pretty clear he was going to be pretty amazing for a lot of PvE content in the game. And as usual, we had just about every single content creator telling everyone how awesome this guy was going to be. Insane champion, absolutely amazing champion. And because of that, pretty much a lot of people went out and maxed him out, built him up so he could do some solo runs on certain dungeons and do some other things. And all of this was pretty much well known when the test server access to this champion was given. So I want to talk about why this is a big problem for Plarium, basically in general. Real quick, let's just touch on this champion. You can see here, I have mine at level 50. I never actually did build him out. I'm not someone that usually goes for the solo champions to try to beat dungeon content, because to me, in most cases, especially if you're developing your account, you're not going to have the resources, you're not going to have the gear, and to me personally, I just don't see it's worth it to invest so much in one champion to do something that you could easily do much quicker just using 5 usual champions for it. I understand some more in-game players who don't really have anything to do. They enjoy throwing all their best gear on that to try to see how they can beat content solo. It's definitely a challenge. Personally, for me, it's much easier to just use Tomb Lord, especially now that he's been buffed. That's going to help out a lot with him for the solo on the dragon. But let's talk about UROGRIM real quick. He's going to have his skull staff here. It attacks one enemy 3 times. Is going to be reduced to a 2 times attack. And each will still have a chance to place the 5% poison debuff. And then I believe the other one is this bizarre Vapors. They are now increasing the cooldown on this to 6 turns. It will now place 2 poison debuffs for 2 turns instead of 3. And will now only do 1 continuous heal buff on allies for 2 turns. So this is the ability that's getting hit the hardest right here with the additional cooldown. You'll be able to book it to 4 turns, but you are going to lose 1 poison and 1 of those continuous heals, which is going to hurt him quite a bit. I still think he's going to be a pretty useful champion. It's not like this completely nerfs him into the ground. I know some people are saying he's basically done for now, but he's still going to give you a lot of good use doing content with other champions now. Probably won't be able to solo as much with him. You'll have to actually combine him with other champions to get the best use out of him. But let's go ahead and just talk about why, to me, this is a massive problem for Plarium and why they should be getting a lot of flack for this, as they have been across Reddit, in their Discord, everywhere else. This was just a bad move on their part, because they waited too long to do this, and now everyone has invested all their resources in him. If you take a look at him, he needs 6 books on the A1, 5 books on the A2, 2 books on the A3. So that's a pretty big investment there. You've got, what, 13 books that need to go into him, 13 epic books. We all know how difficult it is to get books in this game. So a lot of people went in, they put the epic books in him, they went in and did all his mastery scrolls. Some people spent gems on that. Obviously, the chickens you would need to level him up to level 60, the potions to ascend him all the way up. And this is what I said, everyone invested their resources based on all the hype that was generated from the content creators on the test server when he first came out. And Plarium had a chance, like they did with Discard the Sigiled, when all the content creators made their videos on test server about how amazing he was and overhyped him. Plarium basically went in and said, oh, no, this was not supposed to be this strong. We're going to go ahead and adjust this champion before it actually comes out with a patch. I think in that case, they didn't care as much, and they did it because the guy was part of a fusion. They didn't figure anyone was going to use him anyway. So like, oh, it's an easy change for us to make now. In this case, I don't know, it seems a little bit more shady, because they let the content creators hype this guy up. They put him out into the game. There was a Void 2X, I believe, in that span of time, and I know a ton of people spent a lot of money on Void Shards just trying to pull this guy based on the videos they saw, based on the hype that was generated on this champion. So essentially, he was a big-time money grab for Plarium. They were able to make a pretty good financial gain on this champion coming into the game. So I personally think that's one of the reasons they waited a little while before they did this, and that's why they're now getting so much backlash, because it was a very bad decision to do this late after he's been out, when people have now spent their real money on him. They've invested their chickens, they've invested their potions, they've invested their time building this guy up. They've invested the gear, which they're not going to have to spend a ton of silver to take off of him, which they probably spent a ton of silver gearing up, not to mention all the time spent in the dungeons to get that gear. So basically, he turns into a massive wasted investment for you if you were one of those people that went through and completely maxed him out. And the reason this is a problem is because Plarium does not believe in refunding any resources in this game. Now, I come mainly from Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. That was my first big mobile game that I played almost about 2.5, 3 years. Played that game pretty hardcore end game, and I did spend a little bit of money on it here and there. But that game is run by Electronic Arts. Obviously, they are one of the worst developers, publishers in gaming. They have a pretty bad reputation for being greedy and hungry. But here's the funny thing. In that game, anytime they made a major change to any character's kit or skills, they would actually refund you everything that you would put into that character so that you could decide whether or not you wanted to reinvest in that character after the changes. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. It's from the newer movies. I think it's Hux. When he first came out, he had this ability on him that was really broken against some of the much stronger, pay-to-win characters in the game. They let it go for a little while, and then they said, oh, wait, you know what? This is not working as it's intended. We're going to change this ability. We are going to basically reset him on your account, and we're going to refund all of the resources that you invested. Everything you spent, the gear, the in-game currency, the Zeta materials, anything you used on this guy, we're going to refund it to your account, so you'll have it there, and if you want, you can reinvest in him if you decide it's still worth it, or you can use that stuff on another character that you'd rather have. And then there's some other games that do the same thing. I know Rage of Destiny, which is one of the games I still play on the side. I don't really do content on anymore because I don't feel like there's a lot to do there, but they have a reset option basically for any hero that you invest in the game. You can go in at any time and basically reset that hero and refund all the resources you spent on that hero. It's a great quality of life feature. It's pretty cool. It's something all the players really do like about the game. But here you have Plarium, who is just going to basically probably stand pat on this. They're probably going to shove their head in the sand like an ostrich. I know they have backed off before, I believe on the Duchess nerf that was supposed to happen. I don't see them doing that with UROGRIM. And it was kind of hilarious to me that Tomb Lord, who's someone else that can actually solo the dragon, basically got buffed. And so he's over here in the corner laughing at UROGRIM like, hey, look at me, dude. I can already solo this guy, and I'm getting a buff. You can solo him, and you're getting nerfed. So it's kind of humorous, but it's unfortunate for anybody that invested all their resources in this guy. It's kind of now, you're not going to be able to get as much use out of him as you could before. He's not going to be as effective. Obviously, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how they were using him in Clan Boss. And they've seen the damage on their keys go way down due to this nerf that's going to be coming out. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Overall, I think it's a terrible decision by Plarium. I personally don't have much of an issue with the nerfs, obviously, because I'm not using the guy. But I understand that people are upset, and I can see why, especially with that one skill, his A3, getting hit pretty hard on the cooldown and losing that one continuous heal. It's a pretty big change, but it's just the fact that they waited so long to let this go. And let people have the time to buy the void shards and spend their real money and invest all these resources in him in game that they're not going to get back. I seriously doubt. I would say 99.999%. There's no way Plarium would ever consider doing a resource refund for any champion in this game. So that's why it's unfortunate. I think it's a bad decision by them, and I think basically the flack they're getting for it is well deserved. This company over the last couple of months has unfortunately continued to make bad decision after bad decision with the way they treat the player base and the way they are running this game, which is unfortunate because I really do enjoy playing this game. It's one of my favorite games that I do play, although I have been cutting back quite a bit on my time spent in this game recently, just based on how Plarium has been treating the player base. And the game is losing a lot of its luster for me. I actually no longer have my raid card on my main account, and I have essentially stopped spending money on this game, just given the direction Plarium has been going with their decisions of late. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. As usual, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about these nerfs to UROGRIM. Do you think he's still going to be a decent champion? Are you still going to use him? Or are you pretty upset, like a lot of other people, that this champion is now on the chopping block and you're not going to be able to get any of your resources back again? As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.